Google got more artificial intelligence power than any other company on the planet.
Yeah, that's true.
Like understand what I'm saying when I say that, and I try to tell people, and like Facebook is amazing, but when you talk about pure artificial intelligence capability, no one's doing it bigger than Google.
Welcome to Seven Figure Entrepreneur Podcast, the #1 podcast bringing you behind the scenes with real online earners. We got no fake gurus here today. And today we have the wonderful Tommie Powers. I don't know much about this guy, but Tyler has been speaking his praises all week. Apparently he is a YouTube beast. He also comes highly recommended by Chad Hamzy. Do I say his last name right? I do. Yeah.
I've been wanting that same thing, man, because I've been talking about Chad. I'm like, I might not even be saying the guy's name right.
Yeah, well, we got the first name right, so that counts 50% of the time.
That's right, man.
It counts. Anyway, Tommie, thank you for being here. Tyler, thank you for being here with your busy travel schedule.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And here we are, man. So, yeah, let's. I think I'm going to give this one to Tyler and let him start off with it because he knows way more about you than I do.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, man. Actually, so just to let people know, Tommie and I have actually started to work together a little bit. I got a lead gen funnel that's been blowing up. And actually, if you guys all listen to an older podcast, we had two with them, Scott Rerick. He was kind of telling me the experiences he had, and he talked how important it is once you have something up and live, how important it is to diversify your traffic channels coming in, especially if most of your traffic is Facebook, because that button can get switched like Gabe off at any time. And so it really got me thinking about ways to kind of build a better business, have more channels, have more people coming from different points, and like working with platforms that want your money. Like Facebook definitely wants your money, but there's still so much black box there. So it kind of put me on a path to look at other channels. And someone who wants your money right now is Google. Google, when AdWords, Google Display, but then YouTube. And then once you start diving into world of YouTube a little bit, there's not a lot of guys really out there, man. There's guys running it. But, if you look up Facebook agency or even Google agency, like it'll go on for days. YouTube, there's nothing, man. So that's what really got me connected with Tommie. He came highly recommended a few different people. And kind of, I know you're known for YouTube, but there's other stuff you do too, right?
Correct. Yeah, I've been doing this 12 years, man. So, but it's good to be known for something,
That's right, man. You got to be known as the guy for some. And YouTube, honestly, it's a great one. Like we were literally referred to only two people. It was you and then the guy that does ads for Ty Lopez. You probably know him. I think his name's Brad or Brad.
What's his name again?
Brad.
I think it's like Brad.
Brad?
Anyways.
Don't ring a bell.
Yeah. Anyways, there's only two guys in the space, man. And overall, when I'm on YouTube, I think it's a huge opportunity. Most people are wasting. Tommie, what's your opinion on YouTube traffic?
Obviously, you know what I'm saying? I for me, it go back, man, when I started buying this display. It was called Content Network back then, 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I started out as an affiliate, so I was just, basically spamming Google Content Network. But
what were you running, if you don't mind me
everything,
asking?
Anything that made money.
Yeah, I like it. Good
anything
answer.
that made money.
Yeah.
So but I was green, man. I didn't know, man. I could look at the dashboard and I could see these patterns and these numbers and graphs and charts, and I was just like fascinated because I just like knew. I was like, okay, I'm about to kill this. And my wife was like, "You're out of your mind. You're spending our money. I'm leaving you." But long story,
did she?
Nah. Well, she did. She tried to. She tried it, and I had to tell her, "Hey, you got 24 hours. If you're not in the house, I'm gonna change the locks, and it's a wrap." We ain't had a problem since.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Marriage advice.
That's a whole nother story. Yeah, dude, I've been married 17 years, man. I've been with my wife 20 years, so trust, it's like, I got that's a whole nother, we ain't gonna go down.
YouTube and marriage guru, I love it.
Hey. But the short of it is, 2012, I just had this epiphany, man. I was really deeply studying the industry, and I knew, it's a really young industry, and it's just like, where's this thing going? you know, and it kept bringing me back to, you know, video. And, you know, and I just was reading, you know, some articles and things. And I was just like, okay, TV is going to be on the internet. That was like that aha moment for me. So at that point, I was like,
you just knew that, huh?
I ain't gonna say I just knew. It was just kind of studying the market and the trends. You know, my job, you know, the way I make my money is if I'm not on top of my game, I become obsolete. Y'all know this game changed so much. So
man.
you're not on top of it, you become obsolete pretty quick. So I'm always looking kind of where things are going. I want to be 2-3 steps ahead of, you know, kind of what everyone else is doing. And that's what I was really looking for, that edge. And so it was like, you know, I knew I was early, but it was like, let me go see what this YouTube thing is about. And I figured I'd just, you know, start testing just to, you know, get a feel for what was going on. Not thinking that it was going to blow up or nothing like that. Plus I was like, I'm probably going to be way too early. So I didn't, so I had a lot of that early in my career where, you know, you're way too early on things where no one else is kind of caught up. The market isn't caught up. That's not a good place to be. So you got to find that. So my thing was like, let me learn so that when the timing is right, I'll already have something in my bag, you know, my repertoire in terms of, you know, how I move or whatever. And that was kind of how I got started with it, man. Not ever thinking that it would blow up like the way it did. So
how did you get started with the actual, like, so you were saying you were running on Content Network. How did you come across that and like be like, oh, there's a business here. How do I figure this out?
I mean, I wasn't looking for a business. I was looking to make money. I was looking to, you know, my story, and I had a crazy long winding story, but the short, you know, version, 2007, I had congestive heart failure.
Oh shit.
And and off the back of that, you know, I didn't have a job. I had just started a new job like 2 months before that. So I hadn't hit my 90 days. They didn't save my gig. It took me like 6 months to get back up on my feet from that.
Damn.
And being in management, you know, the doctors, everybody was like, oh, you're going to never be able to do management again. You know, it's too stressful. You're going to need a heart transplant, all of this kind of crazy stuff. So for me, I was just like, I didn't have an income at that time.
Yeah.
And my wife was holding it down, you know, and I wanted to provide for my family. And I knew about the internet. I had some stuff. I had done sold things on eBay. And, you know, I had some things that I had messed around
money
with.
Moved.
I knew money moved on the internet. I knew I could make money. And that's kind of what I was like, let me figure out how to, you know, make some money with this internet thing and take it serious. And that's kind of how I stumbled across everything, you know, buying the ebooks, the get rich quick.
Yeah.
You know, I was hook, line, and sinker for all of that. Yeah. My wife was like, this, you know, she thought I was losing my mind, but I was like, I'm telling you, I can figure out how to make money on this internet. And, you know, I don't know, man. I tried all kind of stuff. SEO, made for AdSense. Yeah. And I ran across somebody was talking about how to get traffic. And they was like, you know, you could buy ads from Google and then you can send them to these affiliate offers. And if, you know, the difference is, you know, you keep, you know, if you could get it less than what you get the conversion for, you get to keep the difference. And I was like, that sounds fascinating. Logged in, you know, got an AdWords account, logged in one day. And man, I was like fixated, you know, and I was in there in a moment, I was just like, I'm gonna figure this out. And I told my wife and she was like, you out of your mind. But I was crazy, you know. But
dude, that's freaking cool.
That's
man.
how I found it, man.
Yeah.
What was your first profitable offer you ran?
The first big offer, I don't remember the profitable. I had a couple, but they didn't really, you know, I probably made, you know, a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there. The first big one that I had was water for gas. So this is around 2008 where gas prices was like $4 a gallon.
Yeah.
And these guys on ClickBank had this product called Water for Gas, how to run your car with water. And I was looking at it and I'm like, I don't necessarily believe this. Let me check into this. And then I bought the product and I'm reading it and they give you all of these diagrams on how to build this thing. So it had like real plans and it looked like it could actually work. But what I did know is I did know that gas prices was crazy because I could hear that around me, you know, and in my own, you know, people complaining, especially the people with the big SUVs and, one of my friends that had just bought a big Hummer, and it's like killing him, you know what I mean? And that kind of stuff. So I was like, I bet you people would throw $47 at this, it's $47, you know what I mean? They'd probably take a shot.
Yeah,
and that was the first one that really just, blew up, and it went from, a couple dollars to, 15 grand every 2 weeks here, 9,000, 18,000. And these checks start showing up and start going crazy.
Wow, dude.
How'd
that feel?
Then?
Sorry.
Say that again?
What'd your wife say then?
Well, initially, I was spending money trying to make, so I spent about $3 grand before I got my first conversion. So my first conversion was $33, was a $33 commission.
Yeah.
So my wife was like, you spent $3,000 and you made $33 and I'm supposed to believe that? That's when she left me. That's when she attempted to leave. She was like, this guy got to be losing his mind. He something wrong with him. And in my mind, I was like, I'm telling you, it worked. Once I reverse engineered this, and I was trying to explain it, and she wasn't getting it. She wasn't getting it at all. So
that's dope. How did it feel to have those that like first like big month, and you're just like, oh, thank the Lord.
Well, the point was
back on the team.
my wife went from that to, it took a while, maybe after about 3 months. Now I would say probably like I had a check for like 15 grand. First time that $15,000 check showed up, I was getting ready to go to the bank because I was ClickBank at the time would mail you checks. Yeah. We wasn't on direct deposit yet. And so that $15,000 check, and I was getting ready to leave, and she was following. I'm like, where you going? She's like, I'm going with you. I was like, oh, okay. So that $15,000 check, she followed me to the bank, and after that, she was with it after that. Yeah,
that's want to make sure it was real.
Yeah, make sure it was real. Yep.
Oh, I love it. That's such a cool story, man.
Yeah, man.
That's wicked. So I know you've ran a lot of offers before for. That cut for a second?
Nah.
Okay, never mind.
I heard you.
I know you've ran a lot of offers, affiliate offers, and stuff like that, but you've also done a lot in the basically campaign management for other people too, right?
Correct. Yeah, I got into that after the affiliate thing because I ended up getting shut down by Google. So 2010, like late 2009, early 2010. Like I said, I was basically spamming Google content, to be frank, and just running offers, direct linking. I wasn't building no lists. I wasn't doing any. I did some of that stuff, but the majority of the money that I made was like straight direct link,
Just all transactional,
all transactional. And so when Google shut me down, they didn't shut me down and say you can never run. It was, if you don't fix these websites that are not compliant with our policy, then we can't reactivate your account. And so I had probably, 15 or so of them that were, because I'm direct linking, I didn't control them. I couldn't make them compliant. And if I couldn't do that, Google said, well, we're not going to give you your account back.
Yeah.
So that's what really killed that.
That makes sense.
Yep.
And so you switched from doing that and you got into client work at that point.
Yeah, well, again, that was by happenstance because a buddy of mine, John Schugert, a really good friend of mine over the years, he hit me up one day and was like, hey, I got these guys want me to run some ads for them, but I don't want to do it. And I know you're good at it. Do you want to do it? And he knew, he and I had talked and I had told him, Google shut me down. I got to find a way to make money. Everything is spiraling out of control because I'm living like, I got the house and the cars and the rims and jewelry and we doing all of the dumb stuff.
Yeah.
And it was spiraling out of control. And that's when, and I was like, so why am I going to run that? Like, how does that work? Like, how do I make money? He was like, oh, they'll pay you to run their ads. And I was like, people pay people to run ads for them? He was like, yeah, man, it's like having an ad agency. Da, 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 da. And I was like, wow, that's fascinating. Yeah, they paying money. I'm with it. So that's that's how I got into the agency game. I didn't know nothing about people paying me to do this stuff. All I knew was, I was tunnel vision on the affiliate side. So I wasn't really looking in the bigger picture. I was just kind of, trying to survive basically. And then thriving. Then I got lazy and complacent. The money started rolling in, and I was like, I'm good. I'm about to ride this out.
Yeah.
That's cool,
dude.
man.
It gets so easy sometimes to lose perspective when things are rolling.
Yeah, man.
It's like when things are bad, you got to work hard. When things are good, you got to work hard. So the key lesson is just work fucking hard. And you'll be all right. Man.
Yep. So I started doing agency stuff, man, and been in that space for ever since. Yep.
Are you cool if we dive into some of those clients you've had on the agency side?
Yeah, man. Yeah, whatever, man. Yep.
Because I know one you were pretty involved with in the beginning was Organifi.
Yeah.
How did that whole story go down? So if anyone doesn't know, Organifi is kind of like this green supplement, right?
Yeah. They got a lot of products now, but it started out with the green juice supplement. And
before, what were they doing before the green supplement?
They were just selling digital products.
Yeah.
Pretty much selling.
And didn't they, I remember you telling me a story a little bit, something about they were selling it and it wasn't quite working. And then they came to you with this green drink, more or less.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
How'd that story go down?
Well, when I first started working with them, they were selling digital products or digital programs, whatever you want to call it, but basically digital products. And the stuff we were working on it just wasn't really popping. And I was just telling them yo, this ain't popping. I'm a pretty straightforward guy. And it's just unless something dramatically changed, man, this ain't going to work. I could spend your money and burn a hole in your pocket, but I don't think that's what you guys want me to do. So, we got to figure something out. And they was like, well, we got some stuff we need to handle. Let's take a hiatus. And we took a break for, I would say maybe 6 months or so, 4 months, somewhere around in there. And when they came back to re-engage with me, that's when they told me about this Organifi and this supplement thing that they wanted to launch. And, that was all their idea. And when they showed it to me, I was like, what is this? And then when I really looked at it, I was like, oh my, this is it. This is bingo. And I knew at the time, though, go ahead.
He's frozen right on the key point.
Yeah,
right on the key point. There you go.
Yo, so what was it about that product, though, that set you off? You were like, oh, shit, this is the one.
A big thing we do, Tyler, and you probably know this by now because we just had a call talking about this market research. So I was able to look at their product and I understood the supplement space because that, 2010 to 2015, when I worked with Organifi, I had worked with people in the supplement space. So I'd already had a lot of, experience in that space. And I had not seen something like what they were doing. And it was coming from a great place because Drew at the time their fan page had probably 1.5 million fans juicing vegetables page or vegetable juicing, whichever.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. So they already had 1 million something fans with the juicing. And so their thing was, we're going to solve a problem that our customers are telling us they need. They need something that's more convenient when they're traveling. And so that's kind of how they came up with the idea. And with that, and looking at my experience and then looking at the landscape from a market research standpoint, that's how I was able to say, okay, bingo, this is it. This is gonna be huge. Yep.
That's really cool.
I love how all good products, man, come from customer feedback a lot of the
time.
Whether it's your own feedback about a product or someone else, man, there's been so many great things built from that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
How long did that Organifi running that offer last for?
They still killing it with that, man. I worked with them for about 3.5 years on that.
Cool.
But they still killing it, man. They probably, I don't really know what their numbers are, man. I don't want to, be putting their business out there like that. I don't really know what the numbers are, but I bet they probably somewhere in the 50 million revenue range, man. They killing it. Yeah, they're doing well. I'm proud of those guys. I'm still proud of those guys, man.
Yeah, they've definitely put a badass business together. When you started to when you left, what was the growth in that time period? So
year one, we went from 0 to 5.5. And year two, I think they reported 17. And year three reported 29, man. It was crazy. It was crazy, man. It was a crazy run, man.
And you were the man behind most of that traffic, eh?
Initially, we launched that with YouTube ads. When we started running ads, we launched that with YouTube ads, and that's really what set it off, man. I bought like almost 2 billion impressions with YouTube ads during my time with them. That set off, like literally, they got no searches on their brand name. And when I stopped working with them, they were getting about 40,000. I don't know what it is now, but at that time, they were getting like 40,000 searches a month on their brand name. I know what caused that. It was YouTube ads. They didn't have no presence they didn't really have a presence on Amazon like that. I know that YouTube ads created that. It was like this big spillover that, you know, if you're not measuring these things, you don't evaluate them properly and you don't make the best decisions. But, you know, I understood like this spillover is happening, you know, more Google searches, more Amazon searches, more YouTube searches, you know, people seeking out your other social media, you know, trying to find out, you know, who are you? What is this company? What is it about? Are they legit? And that's what people do. We live in a multi-channel world now. And so what happens is these ads really create kind of like this big spillover that if you're looking at direct click, last click attribution, and you're not factoring in the rest of that, you know, you're just kind of leaving a lot of money on the table, or you're just making decisions that are not rooted in your best interest when you're trying to grow a brand versus, you know, hey, I just want to drive revenue and make money. But if you're building a brand, like, you know, we did that in a major way, like almost 2 billion impressions. Like, come on, man, like that do some stuff. Yeah.
It's like an ecosystem you got to feed.
Absolutely.
When you're running those ads, are you still aiming to be profitable on YouTube?
Absolutely.
Cool. So you're still profitable on the front end, but there's just so many auxiliary benefits that come from it.
Well, it's not necessarily profitable on the front end. So I want to be clear on that. It's about understanding your customer value. You know, it's every business is different, but in the grand scheme of things, you know, if you're in a short-term profitability mindset, it's going to be really difficult to really grow a brand because you're never going to reach the kind of scale like that allows you to do things, you know, from a brand perspective where, you know, let's say you want to go into the retail space. Like, for example, Organifi is in the retail space. Their online presence helped them get that. You know what I mean? Like, there's a different type of mindset you got to think when you're a brand. You know what I mean? But it's like we're measuring the entire picture, and then we're making decisions based on that. So it's not always about profitability on the front end, but we do want to be profitable in terms of money out, money in. We want to get as close to, you know, if we're at break even on that, backing out our costs, you know, we're in a good space, because if you got a company like an Organifi, you know, they got customer value, you know, because every month people are into, you know, a subscription. True. So, you know, now you're looking at that and you're getting that long term as well. So, you know, it's just a different way to really look at it depending on every business. But just because you're not profitable on the front end don't mean you're not profitable, you know, with your ads.
Yeah, and actually you brought up a good point, man, that about 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, I was at GNC in Colorado, and I rolled in there and there was this display, and it had like basically it had room for tons of energy drinks, and they were all gone. And I was like, yo, what was here? And the guy was like, he's like, it was some energy drink brand that blew up on Instagram.
Yep.
He's like, as soon as it came in, day one, he's like, we sold out.
That's crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
How unbelievable is that? Yeah, man.
Yeah, I believe it, man.
An online brand goes offline and just blows it up because they have exactly what you're talking about, which is the power of the brand.
Absolutely. Yep.
The other thing you tapped into, and I know it's something we've talked about before, but I think it's even more relevant to this situation, is the value of a client. Like you were saying, Organifi, you know, people came back and bought month after month. There's this young guy I know back home, and he's hitting me up and asking me questions about running Shopify, an e-commerce store, and I'm helping out when I have time, you know. And he's trying to sell a phone case for $6. And I'm like, dude, you're just playing the wrong game, bro. I'm like, that's purely transactional. I'm like, focus on something where a client actually comes back, which is exactly what Organifi has done. Now, when you raise your average order value, as an example for everyone listening, you know, if you're only making $50 the first time around, but your average client buys 3 times, you're going to make $150. So instead of just wanting to pay $30 to acquire a client, shit, you could pay $90, which is 3 times more.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's that's in a nutshell, man.
And that's what I imagine that's what you guys were doing in this situation.
Absolutely. Them and pretty much all the people that I work with. I mean, I learned this from some Russian cats, man, that was doing supplement space. You know, it was like 2012, man, and these guys were paying like $100 to get a $7.95 free trial. I'm like, wow. I didn't know any of this stuff then. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They were doing some unscrupulous activity, which I end up learning about, going down the rabbit hole of trying to understand how the hell do you pay $100 to get somebody to give you $7.95? Like, I didn't understand that math, and I'm pretty good at math. So I was like, I got to understand this math. And that's how I learned that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Average order value, customer value, all of these kinds of things. And even though those guys were, you know, once I found out they were doing, you know, unscrupulous activities, and I had to walk away from that deal and a lot of money, you know, I learned a valuable lesson that I say I can take that and apply that to real businesses who really care about their customers. And if I can create more value where they want to give me more money, you know, that's the win. And then I started learning about brands and all of that. But like, that was kind of the initial thing that kind of set in motion my style of advertising where, you know, the guy who can spend the most is the one who wins. So for me, it's like, I'm going to go into the markets where the money at. I don't want to go into some, you know, I think Frank Kern uses like underwater basket weaving. Like, I don't want to go there. I want to go where the money is already flowing, because I feel like I'm just going to outcompete you. You know, I'm a very competitive person, being in sports when I was growing up and all of that. But like, that's kind of what I learned from those guys. And I was able to add that to my toolkit, you know, if you will. And then the brand later on and all of these things. And I just started building. But, you know, this wasn't stuff I just figured out on my own. It was come from experience and learning from other people. You know, spending, no doubt. You know, we were spending like $70,000 a day on display. Wow. Then. Yeah,
that's
it was crazy
back then, man. That's a lot now.
It's a lot now.
Yeah.
You know, so learned a hell of a lesson, and I was able to take that knowledge and expertise and bring it to an Organifi, because, you know, they were willing to listen and they were willing to be, you know, to allow me, you know, to be able to do that. They were one of the first companies that really allowed me to kind of just, you know, paint a blank canvas, if you will, in terms of, you know, hey man, whatever you say, you know, unless it's like, doesn't make sense, but like, as long as it makes sense and you got a good explanation why, you know, we with it, you know, whatever you say, let's go. And that's kind of how that happened. But a lot of that is just from experience and just learning from different people and things like that, and was able to bring it to that. Yep.
Yeah. That's pretty dope. I feel like it's probably rare that companies will just like, I'm sure you can find the right ones, but a company just coming in and be like, yeah, just do what you want on the advertising side, man. Like, have at her, see what you can do.
I mean, a part of it too was like, they was early. Like, this is what, like, Organifi did not really exist when I was working with them at first, right?
Yeah.
So helping them launch that, it was a lot easier for them to feel that way versus later on in the relationship, which is why these things have their expiration dates, because they started doing things that I was like, hey, I don't like the idea of that, but I can't make you do anything as your company. Yeah. I just think that it should be this way. And, you know, probably other people in their ear and things like that. It is what it is. And, you know, the relationship ran its course. It is what it was, you know, at the end of the day. Yep.
Fair enough.
That's cool.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and that's awesome. So let's talk about YouTube, man, because like I'm a huge fan of YouTube just in general right now, because I just see it as like this untapped landscape of traffic. I had actually a friend of mine before, so he was breaking even on Facebook. He was making money on email drops, and now where he's making money is YouTube. Ty Lopez blew up, in my opinion, because of YouTube. I didn't know.
Absolutely.
I didn't even care who he was. And it's still, you know, obviously we're in different worlds. That's cool. Yeah. But a lot of brands, a lot of people blown up on YouTube, and still I feel like it's one of those traffic sources that hasn't been like completely plowed through yet.
I agree. I mean, a lot of people that you might recognize in our space that then blew up, and I don't brag on myself, that ain't the guy that I am, but a lot of those people either have a direct or indirect connection with your boy. So, I mean, that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's just, it is what it is, man. Yeah. Humble brag. Yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes you got to do that, you know? Yeah, you guys know Alex Becker?
Yeah.
I was the first person to put Alex on YouTube. I was the first guy to run his ads on YouTube. And and then I've over the years consulted him and coached him and everything like that. And
Nice.
this guy just blew up on there, man. You know what I mean? So that's another one. Like there's more, but that's one example.
But now Alex Becker just like turned all of his shit off, man. Like, and is hiding in a small apartment.
That's got a window to it, bro. That's got a window to it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You know what's funny? I like that dude. Like, I think he's got good shit, but he just does such like left field stuff all the time. It's interesting.
He's definitely against the grain type of cat, man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I think that's what allows him to win, though, man. And he bet on it.
I agree.
That's the other thing about it, man. You got to, if you're against the grain and you don't got big balls, you can't be against the grain.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
True.
That's the only way that works. You know,
guaranteed.
And he's willing to take a risk. You know, and a lot of people aren't. They're not willing to bet on themselves like that. So,
no doubt.
For sure.
One thing I wanted to touch on, man, what kind of products work well on YouTube traffic? Because Organifi, I would say that's e-commerce, maybe supplement-ish. You know, Becker, Lopez, they're more educational space. My buddy's educational space, YouTube's working for him. What kind of products do you find work well on YouTube?
I mean, I think anything will work on YouTube. It's just a matter of, understanding who you're talking to and how to actually get in front of that person. And the thing about it is, if you're trying to cut your teeth with your offer on YouTube, that's probably a challenge. I would recommend people do that if you really got a limited amount of budget and you really need to prove your offer can convert on cold. Facebook is going to be your friend in that category. But I think a lot of times people that don't work on YouTube, it's because their offer either sucks or their funnel is not strong or their metrics are not strong. And then that's why they don't, it doesn't work. So you kind of got to, if you show me a proven business model that's already proven to convert, I'm pretty sure we can make it work on YouTube, because it's just a conversation, right? It's like we're in a social landscape now, where your ads talk back to you and people got options.
Which is phenomenal.
Yeah, well, it's good and it's bad, with that. Yeah. But it's like, people got so many options. There's so many more things that are hitting people where, you got to figure out how to stand outside of that noise and really understand your prospect and communicate. That's why market research is such a big piece of what we do, because it's like, who do we want to talk to and what do we want to say to them? And who do we want to talk to? That's your targeting. And what you want to say, that's your creative. Yeah. You know what I mean? And a lot of people just don't, they don't get that, and they don't want to put the work because there's a lot of leg work up front, but it pays off long term. Everybody want to just jump straight in and think they're going to get, and it's just, they don't put enough work in on the research side of who to talk to and what to say to those people.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Cool. Let's, so I guess my takeaway from this was like, YouTube's probably not the traffic source you want to start with. It's the one you want to diversify with down the road.
I mean, I wouldn't say totally. I think it just depends, on the circumstances. I think Organifi, because they had the mindset, they wanted to build a brand. Obviously, I already came, so I spent my first $1 million on YouTube by 2014.
Wow.
I had my first 6-figure month on YouTube in 2013. I doubt, that's probably, I don't know anyone else that could probably say, there may be a couple people out there, I don't know them, that maybe can say that they're doing that then and still doing that now. So you're just not going to find that. But I think that they had me as an advantage, right? But even if you take me out of the equation, they had the right mindset. They wanted to build a brand. Those were important things that, if you're going after YouTube out of the gate and you got the right mentality, you got some capital, you got some resources. The other thing about them is they had 1.5 million fans already on Facebook. They had however many couple 100,000, email lists. They had assets already and they had the mindset. So, if you're starting scratch out of the gate, brand new, know nothing, I think it'll be really difficult for you unless you got the mindset and you got some capital to support understanding, like, I want to build a brand. I'm going to invest spending money on creative to put the messages out there to see what connects and resonate, to evaluate the data so that over time, I can optimize it, and get myself in place. But you got to have a mindset for that, man. And I just see a lot of people they don't have that mindset.
Makes sense.
Yeah, man, that's cool.
What so I kind of want to give a couple examples, and maybe we can kind of like walk through where you would start with it. What if someone had like an e-com store where they sold drones?
Drones, okay.
And it's working on Facebook. They're making some money.
Yep.
How would you go about, like, I guess that goes into another question, man. There's all sorts of like even ads and types of ads you can buy on YouTube, right?
Absolutely.
What does that look like?
I mean, it varies because the platform changes a lot. But in stream are the ones that you have to wait 5 seconds to skip.
Yeah.
That's where all the scale is at.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
They also have discovery, which are the ones that if you're ever watching a video and then you got to recommend the videos.
Yeah.
And then like at the top, they'll have like an ad. You can tell it kind of like highlighted as an ad. Those are called discovery. Or if you search on YouTube and above the search results, there's ads that sit there. Those are called discovery ads. And they work great as well. But the scale, from what I found, is it shifts. So, for example, with Organifi, we ran a lot of discovery ads, tons of discovery ads. It was probably 80-20 discovery versus in-stream. Now, majority of what I run is the opposite. We run 80% in-stream and maybe about 20% of the time discovery. So
Gotcha.
it just kind of goes with the platform. The thing about YouTube lately, and the reason why I preach the reason why I talk a lot about in-stream is because true view for action, those are in-stream where you run in the stream of other videos is why they call it in-stream. Those are the ones that you got to wait the 5 seconds to skip. Skippable ads, they have true view for action, which means you can bid based on a cost per action basis.
Oh,
so if your action is give me a lead, I can pay, X amount of dollars per lead. The algorithm will go and try to find you however many they can at whatever your target number is.
Yeah.
If you just want to purchase, the algorithm will go. And man, listen, that's what changed the game. That's really was the thing that switched us into the 80%, in stream, because true for action, that's where it's at right now, man.
Dude, that's a huge fucking tip right there.
Absolutely, man. That's where it's at right now.
Damn. Do you find that so I'm a big Facebook guy and I don't fully understand YouTube that well, but I know that like the pixel and Facebook and algorithm is such a key, and I know that Google's like on top of that shit too, man. Like they're really great with that stuff. Are you finding that it's kind of switching so you can sort of do a wider target now, and Google will actually get your conversions down with like less guidance?
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about training that pixel, right? Like, Google got more artificial intelligence power than any other company on the planet.
Yeah, that's true.
Like understand what I'm saying when I say that, and I try to tell people, and like Facebook is amazing, but when you talk about pure artificial intelligence capability, no one's doing it bigger than Google. And Google, there's an article out here, you guys could go and search this and find it, but their goal is to put artificial intelligence in the hands of every advertiser. They're basically trying to create a platform that basically you stick in the creative and they go figure out the rest.
Yeah.
That's really where they're going with this. Matter of fact, I just left with Google today, and that's basically, it was like all they do, like they lean on the AI. That's what they want you to do that. And I found when you lean on the AI, you get better. I mean, it's just getting better and better as we go along. I would say it rivals, to be frank, I think Facebook is probably still a bit better, only because AI with Facebook, I believe that Facebook specifically was doing AI with their ads platform, whereas Google is in the AI business. And now they're doing it with their ad platform.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? That makes sense.
Google's got so many data points, right? Like
Absolutely.
They own a phone company. They have Gmail. They have like chat. They got
Chrome,
YouTube, everything.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's crazy.
Bro.
Yeah, man.
Look, dude, that's fucking badass. So like, it's funny. Gabe and I talk about this, and Gabe's gonna have a way better perspective than I will. But I feel like in Facebook, it's almost a game of like, once your pixel learns and you got a bunch of fires, it's just a matter of keep on rotating new creatives and eventually
Absolutely.
find someone clicks. It sounds like
Bingo.
Google's going down that road too.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
talk
exactly
about creatives on YouTube then, man. Because like how long should someone make a video? What should the video consist of? Like, how do you put that shit together?
I mean, it starts with that market research. You know, I'm going to keep harping on that, and people are going to hear me. I mean, it is what it is. People can listen or they don't. I know the one way or the other. All I can do is give you the game. What you do with it is on you.
Yeah.
Right?
Quotable.
You know, it's
Quotable.
like, hey, we'll take that. Take it. But, you know, it's always start with the market research, man. When you know who you're talking to and you know what you want to say to them, that's going to dictate how long your video is going to be. You know, one. Number two, what action are you asking for? Because if it's like, you know, give me an email address for download a PDF cheat sheet, does it take 3 minutes to explain to someone? No, it shouldn't, right? It's even with a webinar. I see a lot of people with these webinar offers, and they want to run 3, 5, 7, 10-minute videos, and it's ridiculous. Like, all you're selling in the video, you're not selling really anything in the video. What you're trying to do is get them to understand the value of what they have on the other side and tell them what the call to action is that you want them to register to do this thing, and then let the webinar go do its thing. You don't need more than, 2 minutes is probably overkill. Most of the time, you're probably talking about a minute, 45 seconds to a minute to maybe a minute and a half, kind of depending. But then, e-commerce, for example, right? A $20, buy, like a split second, purchase decision that someone would make. Does it take you 5 minutes to convince someone to make a, because it's literally like a lot of times when someone, a $20 purchase, people don't think about that stuff that hard. It's just like, oh, I get it, boom, and then they'll go and take that action. But if you go too long on it, you're probably going to convince them not to do. Like, they already made up their mind. They want to do it. Get out of their way. But if it's like a $200 or $500 sale, different scenario. People ain't going to just automatically jump up and give you $200-$300 straight out of the gate, and they never heard of you before. They're probably going to do some research. So that might mean, okay, I might need to hit them with a 1 or 2 minute video, but I'm not trying to do it all in the 1 or 2 minute video. We might have a sequence of ads. It may be several conversations. So really think about sales. Sales 101 is, multiple touch points, right? To actually get a person to buy. So sometimes it may be that you might have to have a sequence of ads that will do the job for you rather than doing it in one shot. It all just depends on the psychology of the buyer and what you're selling. And when you do your market research well enough, you should be able to have more clarity around. Because I get that question all the time. How long should my video be? And it's like, well, how much market research have you done? And most of the time when people ask me that, they haven't done a whole lot. You know what I mean? So, yep.
That makes sense, man. So like, and maybe we don't dive into it, but that drone example, I think a drone would probably be pretty fucking pricey.
Absolutely.
So it's not going to be a 30-second sale, like video ad on YouTube, because that's not enough to explain or to convince someone to spend, $500, $600, $800 on a drone, assuming that's what a drone's worth. You probably need something far more built out. And like you said, the multiple touch points.
Yeah, I'd probably run a short video initially just to kind of, seed the audience, if you will. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then I'm going to hit them on, features and benefits that's going to get them over the hump. So there's probably going to be a couple different videos that I'm going to hit them with that's going to move them, because who knows what the thing is in that market. But I can tell you one big one is guarantee. That has been a game changer for us in creatives. When it comes to e-commerce specifically, the stronger your guarantee is, the better. Because a lot of times people in the online environment, they see these new brands, it's hard to trust them. Yeah. So, the more you can kind of give them, in their mind, kind of like, reassurance, it's like, how strong is your guarantee that, for example, you might give them a guarantee, based on, like days. If it's like, hey, for the next 30 days, you can try this, and for any reason whatsoever, if this isn't what everything we told you, you can send it back to us and we'll pay the fee to send it back. things like that, like things that other people might, but it's like, if you know you got a great product, I would not be afraid to take risk in that area of removing the risk away from the consumer. The more risk you can claim, the less risk that you give them, the more likely that they'll take advantage. Yeah, so we really think deeply about things like that. And if you got a great product, the main thing you want to do is, if I get them in their hands, I know they're going to love it. So do whatever you got to do to get it in their hands. What's the worst thing that can happen?
That's good for
they
the
don't like it.
Owner too.
Absolutely.
Because you're just going to level up your product, and you're just going to keep trying to make it better and better to keep that refund rate down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yep.
You know what's kind of cool that I think is happening right now, man, and I could be off on this, but I feel like there was a time when everyone was looking for these technical advantages to fucking building a business. Yep. Now it's about actually being a good marketer and putting together a good fucking product.
Man. A great product, great marketing, great messaging, really understanding who you're talking to. All of that stuff is where it's at right now, man, because that tech stuff is really not, I mean, you can still
making it easier too.
You can still do a lot, with things, but where we're going with this thing, man, if you got a great product and you know how to really communicate the value of your product, I don't really see how you're going to lose in this landscape in the future, because all of the other people who bullshitting and whatever they're doing, they're going to get left to the curb, because the customers see through it. See, that's what I be trying to get people to understand. Like, people aren't stupid, and if you operate in thinking customers are stupid, because I've heard people say, these customers are stupid, this, that, and the third. It was like, I bet you we would never work together, because people aren't stupid, man. And if they see this stuff in their marketing where it's like, oh, these guys think I'm stupid, or these girls think I'm people ain't stupid, man. But these are real people on the other end of these ads. You need to be able to create some way where you can, show them that you're real, you're human, you have compassion, you value their money, you value them as a customer, and you need to put that into your messaging. Because if that's really who you are as an organization, and you're not putting that in your messaging, you're not really going to stand apart, because everybody going to say, oh, I got the best price. So, they're going to say the same shit. But who are you? What are your core values and all of those things? And these are things that you're going to start seeing a lot more happen in the digital space, because that's the only thing that really can separate at this point, because everybody's selling a widget. Anybody can sell a drone, but what make your drone better than somebody else's? Probably nothing, really. Like, it's all got the bells and whistles. It's like a Toyota and a Honda. What's really the difference?
Brand.
That's it. Bingo.
Yeah.
That's the perfect word that I was looking for. Brand. That's it. And how do you build a brand?
Following people, trust.
Bingo. That's where it's going, man. So
Man, one thing you touched on there, and I kind of want to, we kind of breezed over it, but I feel like there's huge value in this, is you were talking about hitting them with an initial video and then doing some key points about the drone or whatever product it may be. Right. How much of your traffic is generally retargeting?
That's a good one. It kind of varies. I would say in the e-commerce, we're talking 60-40 in a lot of instances. The higher the price point, it's a kind of a sliding scale. So if we're talking $20, $30, $40 price points, we're talking 70, 30, 80, 20, 70 being cold prospecting, 30 being remarketing. But when you're talking $100 and up, you're talking more, 60-40, because to get them on the first hit is very difficult to do that first time around. So it's really more of a sliding scale, kind of depending on, price point. Yep.
I'm really glad you brought that up, Gabe, because that's a strategy I know a lot of guys will do. They'll just try to break even up front and make all their real profit on their retargeting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's a viable strategy for sure.
That's a killer strategy. That works amazingly well. Matter of fact, talking to my guy at Google today, he was just telling me about one of his e-commerce clients. They just did $1 million around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, kind of like the last, maybe he said.
Can you talk about what space they were in, or?
He didn't give me the exact details. He was just explaining to me, because he's wanting me to use bumper ads. So we don't really run a lot of bumpers.
What's a bumper ad?
So a bumper is like a 6-second ad that cannot be skipped. So have you ever seen a video play
yeah.
on YouTube that you
those.
couldn't skip, but it was really short?
I've never seen the short ones, I don't think, but
those are called bumpers.
Oh, crazy.
And the way he's using them, what he was showing me in terms of how he's using them is he's using bumpers to kind of seed the audience, if you will, to then be able to do, kind of the follow-up, the remarketing piece and whatnot. So that's basically what he was trying to explain to me and kind of showing me, why, he think, because I don't really run bumpers. I've never really been because I've always tried to like, how do I quantify a bumper? You know what I mean? So that was a conversation that we was having today. He gave me some really good insight on that. Oh,
that's awesome.
You can't really drop a lot of info on a 6-second ad.
Say that again?
You can't really drop a lot of info on a 6-second ad.
You'd be amazed at what you can get out of a 6-second ad, though, man, based on some data that he showed me and some data in Google's internal data. You'd be surprised at what you can get out of 6 seconds that I just was like not really thinking about it, that way. But
yeah,
they got a lot of data on it.
Any big takeaways that you can kind of share on that too?
I mean, more than anything, it's just that Google is big on this sequence stuff. I mean, obviously they have a product in there now in YouTube where you can set up your evergreen sequence. So basically, you can run an ad, and based on an action someone takes, it'll kick off the next ad. You can actually set all of that up and have it automatically. Basically. Wow. And Google is really, they're really, he was really kind of pushing that a lot to me today, just in those conversations. And I know that they created their product, but I've never had been really pushed it. And he's pushing that, but not only pushing that, is like, look, we got these things that are as a result of these things. This is not just telling you, I'm telling you based on what I'm seeing working, you should do these things. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. Yep.
Dude, how great is it to have someone at Google that actually wants to help?
Hey man, it's I've had a lot of ups and downs with, I mean, the thing about it was Google was very advertiser friendly, and then they kind of went, rogue on us. And then Facebook came along, was very advertiser friendly, and went rogue on us. And now Google is advertiser friendly again. So it's kind of like these guys are, I think Google understands what's going on with Facebook now, and they see that opportunity to kind of take, or at least get the sentiment in the advertising community kind of back in their graces. Because a lot of people don't even, a lot of younger people that's been in this space, maybe, 5 years or something, they probably don't even know any, all they heard is that Google bans you for no reason, blah, 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 and now they're feeling that same thing with Facebook. Facebook is doing the same thing. So they're trying to take advantage of it.
I'm on that page. Like, I don't know. I never know how long I've been in this game for, man, but I've been running Facebook ads for, let's say, at least 7 to 8 years.
Okay.
Maybe longer. I don't know shit about Google, but I know that their support is way better now. And I'm like,
it is.
I'm like, man, I got to dive into this shit. But it's just like that Facebook money, man. It's just like when it hits hard. And just like, I can't be sucked away from that, Till I get a ban, and then I'm just like, I need to revamp my entire life. Like,
oh, you're gonna be like me. You get shut down, and within probably like by August 2010, man, I lost my house, foreclosed, cars repossessed, had to sell everything. We literally lost everything behind that, and the little agency stuff that I started doing was paying the bills, but I lost everything from that, man, because I had 90+% of my revenue tied in Google. And from one day to the next, it was just like, from one day to the next, they shut it down. And I was living the life, and I wasn't smart. I wasn't saving. We were living the life. And all of those bills was just, it racked up so fast within 6, 7 months, 8 months maybe, man. We had completely went bankrupt. So,
man, I feel like I've heard that story so many times in this industry. Like,
I'm telling you, man,
this money is gonna last forever.
This is not
for everyone.
Whatever you do, you need to start diversifying. I done been through it before, man. I'm just telling you. So, you take it how you want to take it, but
yeah, dude,
you just never know in this game, man. So
honestly, too, bro, I think it's cool that you're putting that out there just as an entrepreneur to give other people
keeping
advice.
it 100, man.
Yeah,
dude, seriously, Gabe knows, man. Like, I always try to fucking save money where I can.
Yeah.
Like, and like things are good right now, man. They're, a lot of respects. They're the best they've ever been. But at the same time, like, one of the things we've been talking about is how do you take the money that we made online and diversify it offline?
Absolutely.
Real estate, shit like that. Because there's just going to be that day. Something's going to hit, man. And we actually had a friend that we met up with in Venice Beach. And he had this great supplement business that he was running with. And he thought everything was good. Like, he had all his stuff checked out anyways, more or less. Without going into the details of it, just like this lawsuit hit him and hit him hard and killed his business. And what saved his ass was he owned a bunch of real estate. And so he sold that off, and now he's still cash up. He's flush.
Back on the team.
But like, yeah, you just got to cover your own ass. And like, whatever you're doing now, like, just plan for the future. And I was actually thinking the other day, I read this quote, and it says, and I don't know if this is totally true, but I thought there was some wisdom. And it talked about like how every person, no matter, if they're successful, if they're not, they always have a side hustle for the most part, or you should have a side hustle. And a good side hustle replaces your main hustle. And so I was thinking about like, what does that mean for me, man? Because I do a lot of different shit. And I think for me, it's like, move the money we make off online, move it offline.
Absolutely.
Like, just get into other shit, man. And right now, maybe the real estate's my side hustle, but one day it could dwarf what we're doing online.
Absolutely.
Which would be great because it'd be passive. But like, dude, I appreciate that you share that story, because I think a lot of people too, man, they don't realize to be successful, sometimes you just get fucking smoked right out of the water, but it's about how you come back from that too.
Man, I'm on my third rodeo in this game, man. I done made a lot of money, lost it all, made a lot of money, lost it all, and I'm back up again. And I'm hoping this time I don't go backwards. But, that's the reality, and this, and a lot of it is money management, man, to be real with you. Because the second time around it was, I ran up a lot of cash and I started investing in companies when I should have been doing what you talking about with real estate. And, I had my uncle telling me and my cousins and things, we should buy this and do that and do this and do that. And in my mind, I was going to take what I had and I was going to flip it some more. I'm going to flip it some more, and I started investing in companies, man, not really knowing what I'm doing. Number one. Number two, that's a long-term game. And I was in the flip mentality. And I lost a lot of money, and I didn't completely go bankrupt like last time, but I lost a significant amount of that money, just not really managing the money well and not being intelligent about how. So, people, we try to paint, a lot of people paint the picture that is all roses and everything, and it's not. This is a roller coaster, man, and the biggest challenge is, how are you going to manage your money? Can you live below your means, save? I had to do all of that stuff over, man. But now, by the grace of God, I'm back up. My credit is good. I got money in the bank. We got all of these good things because I like screwed my credit up, and all of these things, man, where it's like, credit in and of itself is one of those things that can give you a leg up where, if you got a good sound business, making $1 million, $2, $3, $5 million, whatever you're doing in revenue, and you need cash, you need, cash flow, you need, like working capital or whatever, and you got a good business and good credit, that can save you sometimes, man.
Yeah.
Versus not having that. So it's, man, it's a lot that we just had to learn the hard way that I hope other people don't have to learn, that hard way. But I'm sure some of them gonna do it anyway. Because people try to tell me and I ain't listen.
Oh, dude,
no doubt.
I ain't listen.
And I hope this podcast does serve for that for people. Just like, we recently brought Tommie on to a project I got going on, a new funnel that we built out. It's doing well. And like, if anything, we're trying to practice what we preach. Like, we are so heavy in Facebook, and I've even been talking to Gabe about YouTube and getting one of our media buyers, do some coaching on that, just because like, you just need to be diversified. Like that's the one thing we're learning. So if anyone who's up and coming, like do the same thing, think about that. Like, if you're starting out, you're small, you refine your skills, that's cool. Refine your skills, build up, but like, don't be a one-trick pony, or like, just have the view that things will change, and like your skill set's good, but think about other ways to complement. Again, on the traffic side, like a friend of mine, he said last year they did 30 million. This year they're on track for 16. He's like, because I was all Facebook, man. He's like, I had competitors go to YouTube. They're spending 80 grand a day making killer bank. Wow. And he's like, I'm sitting here trying to rebuild what I had. So I hope this like really hits people in ways. If you got something working, you know, find other channels like Tommie's talking about, man. If anything, dude, I didn't realize YouTube and Google was even like this. Like that track ad thing or whatever you mentioned earlier where you can bid on conversions. Like that's a fucking game changer, dude. And just realizing the AI stuff that Google has as a whole, man, I didn't even realize. So it's just great to be in a place.
Yeah, man. Tommie, if you were speaking to a beginner, man, and you're like, they wanted to learn how to run traffic, where would you suggest they start out and how would they go about that?
I would try to latch on to someone who's got money to spend. I would hone my skills. My buddy Justin Brook, he runs a great company called Ad Skills. They train media buyers from scratch. You know, and though there's you could go and get certified and potentially find a landing spot, you know, where someone will allow you to spend their money. Like, you know, for me, I started out spending my own money. By some grace of God, I was able to figure out how to make it work, start making money. But I didn't really cut my teeth on my skill set until I started spending other people's money because I just had so much more money to spend. And, you know, that to me, like if you're going to really get good at this stuff, there's no one course that's going to just make you, you know, you can come good at it, you know, from a course. But if you want to be a master of your craft, you got to get in the trenches, man, and spend the money. And the only way to do that is either come out of your pocket or get with somebody who's putting out, you know, and attach yourself to that and try to create as much value for them as possible. And that's how you're going to really, really master the craft, because what works today might not necessarily work tomorrow. And the guys that are best suited to pivot is the one who has that real skill, mastery level skill set. Because when Google changes something, I'm not pissed off. I'm just going to go look at what it is and say, all right, how do we leverage that now? You know what I'm saying? What do we got to do to take advantage of that now? Because our tool bag, you know, our tool chest, we got a war chest of things in our thing when it comes to Google in terms of YouTube, display, and all of that. So one little change doesn't really affect me that much because we are masters at what we do. But when you're not at that level, you know, one little change can just throw you in a tailspin like that. So early on, man, I would say if possible, I would try to attach to people who have money to spend, try to create as much value for them and just try to like really, really hone your craft.
That's cool, man. What was that thing you were talking about that you can get certified? What's it called?
Ad Skills. Cool. Justin Brook. You guys know Justin?
No, we don't.
Y'all don't know Justin? Yeah, he run a company called Ad Skills, ADSKILLS, Ad Skills. I don't want to sound like a commercial for him, but yeah, he an OG in the space, man. He been around, man, and they got a whole program where they certify media buyers, man, and help them get placed, you know, as well with different people. But I know another thing that they do is they help people train their internal teams, or, you know, a lot of agencies hire, you know, by their training to train their staff and things like that or whatever. So, you know, real world stuff, like, you know, these guys are teaching real world things. This is not just, man, like Justin is legit. Yep.
Sick, bro.
That's super cool.
Justin, I need that check, by the way. Nah, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I mess with him like that.
The plug.
Yeah, but it's legit stuff, man. You know, so
that's cool.
Yep.
That's dope, man.
So what if people want to reach out to you regarding running your traffic? Something I'm personally doing, but people want to reach out to you about running some YouTube traffic. What's the best way for them to connect with you? TommieTraffic.com. So my name, Tommie with an IE, traffic.com. Currently, I mean, we're in the stages of transitioning with our different companies, and we're kind of splitting out. I'm trying to take Tommie to be more of a personal brand, if you will. Yeah. And then our agency side, you know, its own entity. That's something we're converting to here in the new year. But, you know, if you go there, you'll still be able to reach me. I see all of the emails. I might not necessarily respond to all of them. Sometimes my assistant may pick that up, but we make it our business to
see all of our emails and respond accordingly.
Mhm.
And if somebody want to get some information, they can reach out. We probably gonna ask you a bunch of questions because it's really important that we're aligned, because we don't work with people unless we really believe we can help them. And that's the first and foremost thing we want to do.
Do you do any consulting too? Yep.
Consulting. Yeah, I've done quite a bit of that actually. A lot of people in the space that are doing really well. I've consulted a lot of them. So
cool.
So we still do a good bit of consulting. Yep.
Awesome, man.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, you'll probably get some people reaching out. Like we were just told the other day that they've like had some dude that they hired full time because they reached out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's up. That's dope.
Dude. Apparently we got some good listeners. Shout out to you guys. Yeah.
Shout out.
What was that guy's? His name was Donnie or something.
Donnell? Donnie?
Yeah, that's what it was.
You talked to him on the phone.
I did. Yeah. So a guest we actually had on the podcast, John Valenti. We chatted with him and he's like, yeah, some guy reached out to me. He's like, I got back to him and now he's working for me.
Wow.
And so John called him real quick and I chatted with the kid on it for a few minutes, whatnot. And we'll meet up in ASW. But it was cool to hear like the opportunities that are being created. And like, we didn't even know this happened until we met with our boy out in Cali.
Right.
But it's cool, man. It's cool to see like people are taking action. They're making moves and, enriching their own lives. That's
people helping people, baby.
That's what it's about at the end of the day, man. I try to remind people, my team, everybody I work with and come in contact with, there are people on the other end of, whatever it is, these are real people, and at the end of the day, we in the people business, we're in the relationship business. And if we do a good job of that, karma, I believe in good karma too, man. So at the end of the day, we try to put good out in the world and it come back.
Yeah,
absolutely,
man.
brother.
Well, thanks again for being on. Like, this has been a blast, and I'm like really intrigued by the YouTube stuff. So, and I think that we're going to be chatting in the future. I think so.
I got ideas brewing, Gabe. I got ideas brewing.
Yeah,
we got some good stuff, man. I love what Tyler is doing, man. Like I said, he's been through the thing already. We ask a lot of questions. We really try to vet the people that we work with. We really try to qualify them to make sure that we're a good fit. And from there, it's wide open, because it's like, a lot of stuff that he's doing, I don't necessarily, like, we just want to be good. We want to, like I told him before, we want to stay good in our zone of genius. We want to stay in that lane, and we want to partner with people who are great in the lanes that they're in. And at the end of the day, I want win-win. I'm not a greedy guy. It's just like, look, if we can make a pie bigger, then, my slice is just a bigger slice. But it's still like, I don't need the whole pie. Let's just create a bigger one. Let's go build a bigger pie. So I'm looking forward to us really doing that, man. So it's gonna be exciting. I'm excited, man. We're ready to go.
Awesome,
likewise.
Well, I really appreciate it, man. Tyler, you good?
Yeah, I'm good, brother. I think this was awesome.
Yeah, dude, I'm stoked. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening today. For everyone watching, please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube. For everyone listening, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks again, bro.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Later.